That's me looking at spoilers. What's up, Wizards? It's Dev from SBMTG, and I'm here today to talk some Dragons of Tarkir spoilers. Finally, we got 11 spoilers today at 11 a.m. March the 2nd, 2015. And right as I went into work, I was like, damn it! So I got back as soon as I could, and I tried to, get this video up as soon as possible for you guys. Let's go ahead and launch into it, man. Some of these I'm honestly not as impressed by as I think a lot of people are going to be, so don't hate too much, guys. Let's see what we got. First guy I want to talk about is Dragon Lord Sillim Gar, the only mythic that we got spoiled today. What's cool about this guy is he's an Elder Dragon. Well, that's kind of cool right there. Off the bat, he's an Elder Dragon. He's, they took Hexproof away from him, and he's just not the guy he was. Now, obviously, he's good. He reminds everyone, my age, of Kaiga the Tidestar, my favorite dragon from back then. More so than Kakusho, actually. But I don't think that he's Kaiga, guys. The Death Touch is certainly nice, but he's not as splashable. He doesn't have that 5 power, so he doesn't end the game as quickly. And nowadays, in Control, you lose your Sillim Gar, they get their guy back, and you are in a world of trouble. So I'm going to go ahead and give Sillim Gar a 7, a solid 7 to start this one out, because we don't know what we're going to see, but I don't think that this slots directly into blue-black Control the way some people are probably going to think. But we'll do the playtesting, we'll see, and we'll track Sillim Gar and see if he does anything cool in the coming months. Our next card is a Dragon Tempest. This is a Commander All-Star, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know how much it's going to do in Constructed. I mean, we haven't seen the rest of this set and how many dragons are actually in it. But this, honestly, one of those middle-of-the-road, cards. We've had cards that give your whole team haste for 2 mana before, not just when you play a flying guy and stuff like that. So, I'm not actually as impressed by that mode on the card as a lot of people might be. I guess all your dragons do at least 1 damage when they hit, maybe 2, maybe 3 at the most, I don't know, unless there's some sort of, it'd be really cool if there was like an aggro-based, curved out dragon deck. But even then it would have to spend its second turn doing this, and I'm not seeing it, guys. Now, Commander, people will like this card. Let's just get that out of the way. The third card we're going to talk about is Profound Journey, and I am not profoundly impressed by this one, y'all. It's 7 mana. It's just so much mana to pay for an effect like this. I mean, for 1 mana more, you get Ugin, which just does all the things. So, yeah, I'm not impressed with this. We do get our first look at Rebound, which I think is a really cool ability that there's probably a lot of design sort of wiggle room for. So I think they're gonna do some cool things with Rebound. There will probably be at least 1, if not more, constructed worthy Rebound cards, but I'm not seeing it on this one, guys. Not for 7 mana. It's cool that white can regenerate or could reanimate again, but not for us. Not for us. The fourth card is not bad. It's my favorite card that we've spoiled so far, I will say. This is Sidisi, Undead Vizier. And he kind of looks like Jafar right there. It's kind of cool. Yeah, I think this guy's actually really good. I love the ability Exploit, and I love what it's named. That's perfect. Yeah, when this creature enters the battlefield, you may sacrifice a creature and get bonuses if you do so. Now, it's worth noting you don't have to sacrifice the creature. In that case, you get something way better than Undead Minotaur. 5 mana, 4/6 Death Touch. But this guy, you definitely want to use the Exploit, right? You tutor for whatever the hell you want when he comes into play. So that's really cool. Right? That's fantastic. This guy's a pretty cool commander. We'll say that right up front. I'm not 100% sure about Constructed, though. I think that in a similar slot, Tassiger is just a better card. But tutoring is a powerful ability. It's always powerful. You can't underestimate tutoring. And we probably will see something trying to exploit this card's abilities. Although I don't think it'll be the best thing we see with Exploit. Absolutely not. But I will give Sidisi a solid, probably a 7, 7.25, just to start out. We don't know what we'll see later on in this set. Obviously, all these spoilers exist in a vacuum right now, but they won't in just a week's time. We'll see a lot more stuff. So I do like Sidisi. I do, but 5 mana is a little Obviously, it'll steep, but getting a 4/6 Death Touch body and tutoring for whatever card you want is fantastic. It's very good. There was one last thing. I don't want to let him spend too long on this. But there was a card in like Duels of the Planeswalkers. I forget what it's called, like Renegade Demon or something. But it was like a 7-mana flying, like 5/6 when it came into play. You tutored for a card. And that card, obviously this is sealed, but that card wins you the game every single time you ever play it. In a way, he's able to protect himself because you can go get something that protects him. So yeah, I do like Sidisi. I don't know how good he really is, but I do like Sidisi, for what it's worth. The next couple of cards are relatively boring compared to that card. Ojutai Summons. I do like saying Ojutai. Yeah, so 5 mana for 4 power. They both fly. Spread among 2 creatures. Is fine in sealed. That is absolutely where you want to be. It's probably better than the other thing that we saw in Fate Reforged. That manifests 2 cards off the top of your library for 5 mana. Now, that was at instant speed, so that's a really, really good card. But summons, obviously, they both have evasion, which is cool. One of those cards you use more of as a defensive, sometimes into their turn or during their combat. This card is strictly, I get 2 4/4 flyers, and you have to wait a whole turn for one of them. So I'm just not super impressed by summons. I think it's okay in sealed, but we won't see it anywhere else but that. Crafter Mage. Crafter Mage is a 3 mana 3/3, or he's 3 mana for 3 power, regardless. If you play a 1/3 second turn, he'll get the counter. Which may happen, because Erishing Cleric is in the same colors, and he's a very common. But in any case, I like Crafter Mage. He's a good bit of utility, which we've seen a lot of. Very good design utility in white creatures this whole block. I don't think that he's great, but he's really good in that like 18 to 23 slot, Not a bad card at all. Solid in your limited formats, which is obviously what he's made for. Speaking of made for limited formats, we've got a Sillim Gar Butcher. Sillim Gar Butcher is good. This card is good. Yeah, 5 mana for a 3/3 body and kill a guy when it comes into play. This is kind of Necrotal-ish, that ability. And those are always good. You're going to pretty much always kill a guy in sealed when you play this on the 5th turn, even in draft. You're going to kill a guy and get a 3/3 body. So I say in sealed, this guy's not like a must. Well, maybe a must play, honestly. This is like a solid 4 or 3.5 out of 5 in sealed. And again, in sealed, I give it like an 8. But nowhere past sealed will we see the Butcher. Really, really cool artwork on this guy, BT Dubs. My favorite artwork so far. That brings us to the 5 mana 5/4 Sprinting War Brute. Sprinting War Brute is probably fine. Again, this is a limited environment only card, nowhere near constructed. I don't think. 4 mana, 5 power, haste. It sounds fine, but we just have better stuff in that slot. I don't know why you wouldn't play like Shaman of the Great Hunt in that same slot. War Brute. Again, he's fine in his limited deck. I think that he's, a solid include. Be in your first 10 cards, 12 cards that you include. In that particular limited deck. He only lives in that one aggressive limited deck. Aside from that, not too impressed with the War Brute. He's a good design decision for Dash. And I'm glad we'll get to see more Dash this set than we did in Fate Reforged. That's a cool ability. So yeah, like I said, solid, playable, and limited. But aside from that, nerfing. Nathan. Let's talk about probably my favorite card spoiled today, I think. And that is Stratus Dancer. Stratus Dancer is cool, and it shows off our first look at the Megamorph ability, which I think the ability is slightly lazy. But this is a very aggressively costed Megamorph card, and I think they're showing us this to get us hyped. But this might be one of the best Megamorph cards that they will spoil. Obviously, a 2 mana 2/1 in blue is fine. You want your bears in blue, but that's not even what it does. It flies too. 2 mana 2/1 flying. That's more than fine. The card is pushed. You can morph it for the normal cost, flip it up for just another, just its casting cost, and it becomes a 3/2. And this is the cool part. counters an instant or sorcery. Now, obviously, you just read all that. I didn't have to read it, but I just wanted to read it for impact because this card, I think, is very good. I'm not 100% sold on Constructed, but this is obviously a card people are going to get excited for. They're going to test with because Stratus Dancer has all the marks of a pushed card. Obviously, they gave us this to show off Megamorph. We do have one more Megamorph card, but it's nowhere near as impressive as this. I think Stratus Dancer, just from what we see of the design of this card, the look even of this card, they want this to be a constructed card. I give it a 7.5. It's not the most revolutionary thing ever, but I think it's the best spoiler that we've seen all day. We might not be done today, but it's the best one we've seen all day. Let us know how you feel, because I think that people are going to be split on Stratus Dancer, but I think this card is just short of fantastic, and we'll see constructed play, definitely. I'm excited. I'm more excited than I look. Our next to last card is Stampeding Elk Herd, which is, I love the names of green creatures. Stampeding Elk Herd. And it's got a new keyword ability, Formidable. Formidable is like ferocious. Whenever Stampeding, well, and that it starts with an F and it's a keyword ability. Whenever Stampeding Elk Herd attacks, if creatures you control have power total power 8 or greater, then all your guys gain trample until end of turn. So it's like ferocious, but you gotta have twice the total power as opposed to half that power on one guy. Some would argue that this is easier to get, especially when you have a 5/5. You only need one like medium-sized guy to get the trigger at that point. Elk Herd, obviously very good and limited. A 5-mana 5/5 is where you want to be anyway. And yeah, that second ability is nothing but gravy. That Formidable is pretty cool looking. I think that we'll see some awesome stuff with that. This isn't one of the most awesome things we'll see, but giving your whole team trample can bust up stalemates in limited. And yeah, I think this card is fine in that environment. Outside of that, no sir. But, you know, in limited, this is definitely a great top of the curve card for that color. Our final card is not impressive. It's Airy Bow Masters. This is fine, I guess. So there's not much reach in this block. 4 mana for a 3/4 reach is good. I mean, that is pretty good, but I just don't want to spend a turn morphing it and then flip it up on my 6th turn, and, you know, it's a 4/5 reach. That's good for the 6th turn, but this is a set where we'll see a bunch of dragons. So this card may be either integral or just completely underpowered for what we'll see this block. Reach is fine. Reach is a good ability, don't get me wrong, and 3/4 is a good PT, but I don't know. I'm just kind of yawn, you know. I feel like this card is good utility. You're going to put it in your green decks. It's probably in the first 10 slots. But that being said, I'm just not as impressed. It's overwhelmed by some of the other spoilers we got today. And when we get to look at the set as a whole, I think that this card will go in your green limited decks, but I'm not sure how good green's going to be. I said it. I'm not 100% sure green's going to be the best color ever. Which I'm never quite sure of. Green hate. Hashtag green hate. Well, that's all the spoilers we have so far. I was going to say for today, but we're not actually sure about that, guys. If we got any more, then I'll throw something up on the YouTubes for you. I'm Dev from Strictly Better MTG. Let us know how you feel about these cards. Maybe I'm a total idiot and you're like, Silumgar is awesome. What are you talking about? Which, if you talk that way, you probably aren't correct. But Silumgar is fantastic. What do you mean? Like, that, I think, is the voice of someone that is about to make a good point. So, in any case, like, share, comment, subscribe for more spoilers. We'll be here. My name's Dev, guys. I'll see you next time.